Thank you to all the readers. That was really great. I love it. They were great readings, yeah. And I love it when readers actually stop after the time they were invited to read. I promise that I also will stop in a reasonable amount of time. I actually timed it with a stopwatch earlier today. I think I may not need this. The first poem I'm going to read is a political poem. Excuse me. I don't often write political poems, but I wrote this one. I'll explain a little bit that Andrew J. is President Andrew Jackson. There are other presidents referenced in the poem by name. Lady Liberty is in the poem, 911. You get the idea. I've read it before and people missed all that, perhaps because they didn't have the text, so now I tell them. And I'm including it tonight because some of you may know this is the 39th anniversary of the killings at Kent State University in Ohio, back in the days of Vietnam War protests. It's important to remember, I think, that there was a time when our government did kill its own citizens who were protesting an illegal war. It happens. That's who we are. So, the other poems that I'll read won't need any introduction, and they are not political. But this one is. The night George McGovern died. In the Hotel Americana, guests and servants scurry like rats with no sense of direction. In the attic hides a killer. Call him Andrew J. Sad and muscular, sexy, naked, and mad. Holed up for years, nursing fears and conjuring campaigns. I'm trapped in an elevator with a strange woman. We are carried up to a manifest date with destiny. Arrive alive to a cavernous room full of ancient plumbing, moaning and dripping rusty fluids, the air dense with humidity, so steamy that it's hard to see. The madman stalks us. Call him three-timing George. Call him Teddy, Richard, Ronnie, or Barry. Creeping from behind, he places his warrior's hands squarely on the lady's head, fingers crawling like jungle infantry through her crowning thicket of hair, conquering the slope of her forehead to explore her eye sockets with surgical fingers, pushing delicately into the skull until she is blind. Hear her silent scream. He lugs her to a window and tosses her out. Then, I am down at the pool of this luxury hotel, and from the heights falls a woman with blind sockets for eyes, splashing into the water like the plopping bodies of tumbling towers. In the morning, I hear the news of George McGovern's passing and ache over something gone terribly wrong for much too long. Okay. The rest are not political. How to read a crystal ball. Do certain things and certain results will follow. 1 + 1 makes 2. And 2 parts hydrogen plus 1 part oxygen makes water, and water makes ocean. And moon makes tides and the silver splendor of evening. Trust yourself to strange music and odd rhythms. Travel with gods in a spirit canoe. Row through the evening flowers on the altar. Row through roses rising to stars. Get drunk and row backwards. Swim in these waters or drown in these waters. Do you understand yet? No matter. When you get right down to it, have faith in yourself. Fill in the spaces. It gets easier. Grow to seed. Hey, look me over, Daddy-O. I know I asked you, fool for love, to keep me on track. But put away the pruning shears for just a while. It hurts to grow, and I want my garden wild. Let the reeds come that are the heart's blossoms. Let the will be silent and the reeds take over. The garden kingdom is ours to loose. Mary, Mary, quite contrary. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. And this last piece is called The Tale of the Comatose Fairy and the Prince of Kind Heart. And this is from my friend E.K. The Tale of the Comatose Fairy and the Prince of Kind Heart. Once upon a time, there was born a beautiful fairy boy. Like most of his kind, this fairy was excessively sensitive and often found life painful. Because of this, the fairy decided, when he was quite young, that he would like to die. Now, fairies are by nature survivors, and suicide is foreign to them. Therefore, the young fairy had to resort to magic. When he was very little, he tried to use magic to stop his eyes and ears and mouth, but his interest in life was too powerful, and the effort failed. Later, he attempted to put himself to sleep by simply announcing his death and carving his own tombstone. He even took to sleeping in a coffin like Dracula, but remained stubbornly alive. At one point, when his father banished him from the castle, he very nearly died, but a powerful anger welled up within him, and once more survival won out. When the fairy grew up, he took to drinking the poisonous draughts of trolls in dim and dangerous caves with names like the Rusty Nail and the Mine Shaft. But the trolls befriended him, and he learned to like it there and didn't die at all. Then there came upon the fairy forest a terrible plague, and scores of young fairies died. Elroy, the king of the short folk, and Gary Elfsinger, and Rock Fairy Terence, and Queen Sylvester, and many others. The fairy hoped he would die too, but he survived, and nursed his anger and jealousy at the fate of his friends. Finally, he met a series of young fairies, protégés of the Snow Queen, who repeatedly pricked his heart with their icicles until at last his own heart began to freeze. Slowly, but definitely, his heart grew cold and gradually turned as hard as a diamond. It took a while, but eventually success was his. A heart of stone dwelt within his breast. Like Sleeping Beauty, the fairy withdrew into